Hello and welcome to the very first video of The Elephant in the Room. I'm Eli Gettle. With me today is my cousin Tony, and this guy I went to high school with, Ian. Now these two are two complete opposite poles of what we as Americans consider society. I got a veteran and a felon. From a teenager, felon, young felon. So today we're going to talk about a couple of things, but we're going to jump into the first thing is just when you get into the military. Explain to me what happens. How'd you get in? What happened with training? What's the big moments of your military career?
One of the big moments that definitely sticks with me is the ridiculous lengths that the Army goes to in order to recruit people. Like, I can remember being shown this video that had like dirt bikes, four-wheelers, like all this cool shit going on, but I remember my first day in basic training. It was fucking terrifying, like, and confusing because you're getting yelled at by everybody, like, and you have no idea what the hell is going on or why you're being yelled at.
All right, so walk us through your first day. How's that happen? You got to get there at a specific time. You just go in where you can. What's the deal?
When you first get sent to your post of wherever you're where you're going to be doing your basic training at, you start out at this place called 30th AG, and that's where you get like put into the system, given all your gear, your uniforms, all that shit. And for the first 3 days that I was there, I did not sleep at all because we couldn't. We were busy being pushed through all these lines and everything. Like, we were miserable, and I can remember we had to get our initial portrait done. The picture to send home back to the families, make them feel special. And there wasn't a single person in there who did not look like they just came out of a fucking Rob Zombie music video. And that's not even that's not even the bad part. When you actually get shipped off to basic, that's where the true like pain starts. Like, but the worst part of it is the first day, because you're getting screamed at. You don't know why you're being screamed at. Getting shoved to all these places, this and that, and it's just shitty. Like, your first week is like the worst, because that's all there is just like confusion and fear, fear of the unknown, because you don't know what the hell is going to happen next. But yeah, that's essentially how the start of it.
All right, so once you get done with basic training and you're getting ready to ship off and everything like that, what's going on when where do you get shipped off to? Where was your first base at? Everything like that.
After basic training, most people, other than combat arms MOSs, they get sent to various different other bases for AIT, which is kind of we're going to show you how to do your actual job. But my basic didn't end because it was just one station. But yeah, they basically split you up into which units where, like, need how many, if that makes sense. Like,
no.
And I can remember I was in the biggest line there, and they were telling us, like, whoever's in this line, you guys are going to blah, 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 blah. They got to my line, and the number one that I did not want to hear was called off. Everyone in this line, you are going to Kansas. Fuck. Fuck.
Why'd you want to go to Kansas?
I did not want to go to Kansas.
Why?
Because there's nothing there.
What's in
Kansas anymore?
Like, fucking, goddamn, I apologize to anybody that lives in Kansas. Y'all are suffering from some extreme form of Stockholm Syndrome, because, dear Lord, in Kansas there is a beautiful woman behind every tree. The thing is, there ain't no fucking trees.
Oh my god. All right. So what? After you get done in Kansas, when did you finally get shipped across the pond?
I was stationed in Kansas there for a good couple of years, and then in late 2013 we were told that we were deploying to Kuwait, and we left sometime around like the end of June 2014. Fucking first thing that I remember was like thinking whenever they finally opened them doors was Jesus Christ, because second they opened them doors, this blast of hot air, and it was 8 at night. 8 at night, and it was over like 100 degrees.
Where's Kuwait?
Kuwait is a small, very small country located near Iraq. That's where Operation Desert Storm, that's what that was all about.
Okay. So what were you doing in Kuwait?
Training.
Desert Storm has been over.
This was before ISIS. We were basically just there. Really, the only reason why we have bases there is because we are the Kuwaiti government's hired gun.
Okay.
They pay us in oil. We go, okay, we'll stay there.
Keep a couple bases around, make sure nobody messing with you too much. All right,
Yeah.
all right. So, did you actually do anything in Kuwait, or was it just training?
It was mainly just training, but whenever we eventually went to Jordan, and that's whenever ISIS popped its head up, like near the beginning of my deployment. And so we were always wondering, are we going north? Are we going north? Some of us went north. And we also went to Jordan as well. We were there as a security force because, yeah, why not? But Jordan, fucking loved that country. That country was gorgeous. Kuwait, on the other hand, Jesus Christ, man. It was a desert and it was humid.
How long were you there?
In total, overseas, I meant
in Kuwait.
Like 6 months.
That's not. I mean, it says that's not horrible. It's a desert for 6 months, so I'm sure it wasn't too fun. Where'd you go to after Kuwait?
I was in Jordan.
Jordan, how was that?
It wasn't bad.
Where's Jordan at?
It's right near Israel.
Okay.
Yeah, because of course the Jordan River. It goes in between the two countries.
No, I know. Not everybody knows, so I'd rather just ask so other
yeah.
people don't have to feel some type of way about asking.
But yeah, we didn't really do much in Jordan. I mean, that's where I fucked up my knee, but
that's always fun. All right, so go to this guy now. See what he's talking about. So, I've known you for a long time, Tony. And your cases is one of the cases that always really got to me deep down because, like, they got you young. It was so young. Don't get me wrong, it was bad. Like, you messed up. You were kicking over gravestones, man. That's not the best thing to be doing. I would have been very angry if I was one of the families it happened to. I completely understand where they all came from. But at the same time, how many years later are we now?
That was 12 days after I turned 18. I turned 27 in 2 weeks.
So when it first happened, what happened to you? Because this was your first actual offense, right?
Yeah. I had one previous juvenile offense. It was a citation. So
speak up a little bit, buddy. I got the one mic.
Through a course of events that resulted in all that and the destruction of the graveyard and stuff, they over the course of 2 months, the state police formed a case against me with actually no evidence and hit me with 7 counts of a felony 1, 3 counts of a felony 3, 54 counts of a misdemeanor 1, and 2 other summary offenses. Carried a maximum of 457 years. And, like, at the age of 18, my first time going to jail, and then, like, going to court before that, and then to tell me that number, and then say that my bail is $100,000. I didn't know what any of that meant. I just knew that my family doesn't have $100,000 and 457 years is longer than I'll ever live.
Yeah.
So, like...
now, did you have... Now, obviously, I know you, but the people that are watching, not everybody knows you. So, obviously, your family doesn't have money to get an amazing lawyer and everything. Like, you're from a small county, Perry County, Pennsylvania. So, What happened when it came to legal aid for you? What type of legal aid did you get?
I actually had up till I was 18 about $5,800 in the bank through bonds and stuff for college, and my mom actually liquidated that for a retainer fee. And then my first 6 months, because I couldn't get bail, I had 2 bail modification hearings, so they dropped it to $10,000. I paid 7%. So over the course of 6 months, my entire college account was gone. All my bonds, everything that was aside, just to get me out of jail. And then, excuse me, a year and a half later, when I finally made it to trial, before I even went to actually have my trial, like literally 5 minutes before trial, they offered me 5 years probation on a felony 3. And I hadn't been back in jail since that. All I knew was, like, if I don't take this, I'm in trial, I lose, I'm going to jail forever.
So what did your lawyer or legal representative, whoever you had at the time, what did they tell you? Was this a good deal? Was not a good deal? Was it something that you should take?
That was the thing. He didn't, as much money as I gave him, he never really gave me one side either. He just looked at me and said, if you want to take it, I understand. If you don't, I'll fight for you. And I think, like I can fight for you. It really was not that confident. And I looked at, there was no evidence. There was no concrete evidence. I could have beat that. But being 19 years old and having a daughter at the time that was 2, like, I didn't want to go back to jail, especially not for like 7 years.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's what really killed me. Like, cause as soon as I walked out of the courthouse, I was like, man, like, I just paid $6,000 for someone to just reschedule all of my court dates because of personal reasons he had, and then go to trial and be like, I don't know, man, do what you want.
Now, probation, 5 years on probation might seem. It might seem like a good deal. If someone were to hear that, the first thing they were going to hear is, okay, well, he didn't go to jail. You didn't have to go to jail. You got out of going to jail.
That was my fault.
Now, what they got to really understand is how many court fees and fines and how much money did you have to owe the government or the state or whoever these people, the victims. Let me not say whoever, the victims. How much did you owe overall to the victims and to the courts?
When I signed the paperwork right after taking the plea for probation, like 5 minutes later, it was $120,000 in court costs, restitution, and everything goes along with that, like the tax and stuff they tack onto it.
Now, see, this is one of the big problems for me that always pops up, because when you're 19, $120,000. Now, don't get me wrong; these people deserve they deserve to get something to fix what they've had taken and broken and everything, like reparations. Thank you. But at the same time, a 19-year-old with a poor family that doesn't have any money is not going to be able to magically make $150,000 almost appear within any amount of years. Like, you can say that to anyone. Look at the people that go to college, and some of them don't even have that much, and it takes 20 years to work off. Some people have way more. It takes their entire life to work off. Some people never pay their college debts off. How are they really expecting someone that they're about to put all of these charges on to be able to get any type of job to pay that off in that time period? And that's where the loop comes in. Because now at the end of your 5 years, well, before we even get there, so what happened though? Will you get into your probation?
All right, so you go downstairs. They take pictures of you. They'll tell you you're gonna report. Like, you take a urine test, and you're gonna report this time this month. You get a job, steady income. I had a job at the time, and like when I came in, I didn't realize that, like, if I'm coming in without money, that's a reason for them 2 or 3 months to put me back in jail. So if I don't have a job, like had I lost my job or didn't have a job at the time, I go to jail simply because the economy wouldn't give me a job for being a felon. If I go in there, late, or for any reason I can't get there, and he feels like it's me dipping him, I can go to jail for that. And it was weird for me because I went from being on bail, where I was just like, I have to go to court on this day, to being like, all right, this man can show up wherever I'm at any time and tell me that, like, I have to pee in this cup, may go to jail. Or, like, he shows up, like, you owe money, you're going to jail. And it's happened before. I've gone in for 12 days. They're like, I'm behind on payments. They would put me in the first year, and they send me home. I've lost jobs because they would lock me up for a week and a half at a time just to take me to court and tell me what I already know.
Yeah, that's one of them things. And like, at 19, I understand putting people on probation. You shouldn't be able to do whatever you want to do,
Absolutely.
But you really shouldn't be able to just stick a 19-year-old in jail for drinking or smoking or something like that. I don't get me wrong, they're wrong. Yes, I'm not saying that they're in the right.
I know it was
But
wild.
putting these people in jail back in there with the hardcore criminals, these people are on probation for nothing, and you're putting in there with criminals, real criminals, rapists and murderers.
My first time in county. Now, bear in mind, like, the county jail isn't that bad. They do have all the federal inmates for Dauphin County, but, like, my first time in there, I was 18 years old, and I was a fat little thing, and I was like, I didn't know anything about what was going on, and I get in there, and, you know, the cops the whole way there, just assholes. Like, just the whole time they're just like, oh, you're going in here, you never been there, you ain't sleep at night, all this. I don't know anything about jail. Like, that's scary, dude. You never been in before. You have no idea what's going to happen. And then you get there, and everybody's just loud and boisterous, and, like, everybody wants to test you. And, like, I don't know anything about jail etiquette, how to live there, anything as I've just gotten there. And, like, that was a huge thing for me. Like, I'm locked in a cell, and I'm looking at phones on a phone bank on the wall, and I had no idea you can make a phone call from prison, like, just from the block.
Well, let me ask you this. So your first time you're in jail, what did you actually get into the state prison for?
My first time in the state prison system, the charge that I got 5 years probation for, I completed 4 years and 9 months of. And then I had lost my job, and my PO was going to violate me, so I absconded for 2 months and found work. And when they arrested me, 1 month before I would have been done with the 5 years probation, they filed a Gag 9-2 petition and sentenced me to 1.5 to 3 years on that same charge from 6.5 years prior.
How do you feel about that? As someone that's never committed a crime, as someone that's came and served their country, and obviously you want the best for everybody. Not only everybody has their own personal agendas, blah, 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 but how do you feel about that? The fact that he was resentenced on something that he had already served 4 years of probation on, 4 years and 9 months of probation on. He was almost in three months left, and they went back and took all of that time back and resentenced him and put him in state prison with killers and gorillas. You know what I mean? Rapists and murderers and people that actually not deserve to be in the incarceration that we have, because our system is ridiculous. The fact that we have privatized jails in Pennsylvania that make money off of people being in prison is horrible. It's not right, because at the end of the day, you're just putting people in boxes. But I got off of my subject. How do you feel about that?
I believe it's 100% wrong. I noticed the same kind of shit whenever when I was in the Army. We had military police, of course. These motherfuckers would fucking pull you over for going 1 over the speed limit because they were that goddamn bored, and they love to fucking whip their dicks out. They're metaphorical dicks.
No, I think that's most people in positions of power, like police officers, even some security guards. You see, it's crazy. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, just because a guy wears a clown uniform don't mean he's fucking funny.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. As soon as you get a sense of power, it's human nature to abuse it. Like, you can hide behind that, but realistically, if you have it, you're going to want to take advantage of it.
They showed that a long time ago. Have you ever seen the Harvard experiments?
Yeah.
The movie they made about
Stanford.
that? The Stanford experiments. My bad. The Stanford experiments.
Yeah.
It's a great movie, and it just shows you, like, how quick power goes to people's heads. The farther you let people take it, they're going to take it there. It's not good.
That all actually roots back to that old classroom experiment where some kids were given a star and other kids weren't, and people who had the stars were they were the superior ones, and the ones without were not.
Yeah. All right, so Tony, we'll get back to you here now. When you got into the state prison system, this is something I want to know from my own personal. When your first cellmate, can you remember what his charges were?
He had actually been... So when I got in there, I was told by him that he had a DUI, and he was doing 2 to 4 years for his second DUI charge. I was an older gentleman. He was about 56, 57 years old. And when you get to the state prison system, you go to R block, which is classification, where they do all your testing, your blood work, all of that, and then afterward, all the inmates are sort of different blocks.
In Pennsylvania, at least.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So you're only really essentially on R block anywhere from 3 to sometimes 3 days to a month. Like, it shouldn't be that long, but so after I'd gotten out there and moved to B block, I found out like a month later that he was sent to the infirmary because he was actually there doing 2 to 4 years for like 4 counts of sexual abuse against a minor under 12 years old. So like, and as I'd found that out, before I'd actually found that out, my first day on B block, I got to B block, so when I moved there, it's the old side. It's really, really old cells. Open gate, there's no air conditioning, insanely hot. Was there in July, and I was on the top tier. There's 2 tiers for the block, and I was on the top here, and that side on the bottom, they pass out your status sheets as mail, saying like what your charges are. And a man that had obviously been there for a couple of days already to get his back, got it, and his cellie found out that he had charges for abusing a minor sexually, and had called out to the guards like, yo, you got to get me the fuck out of here, I'm going to kill him. And, like, you hear about this all the time. That's a real thing. Like, they told him, and the guards were like, well, do what you got to do. 12:30 comes, they shut the lights off, they do count. There's no CO doing around for 45 minutes. As soon as they were out and they finished, I lay down to read a book, and you could hear like clap, skin on skin, so I knew that I just grabbed him. And I stood up, and my bunkie up top, Tom, was like, "Yo, they're down there fighting." And it really was, the man literally beat dude to death. Like, had grabbed him on the top of his shirt and kept feeding punches into his face, and when he fell, he was booting him in the face with state-issued boots. And had just literally made his face in a hamburger, and then sat down and smoked a cigarette, and when the CO came by, they just were like, oh. An hour and a half later, they took him to the bucket.
Now, granted, I feel no remorse for the person that it happened
absolutely
to.
None.
Not at all. Because, I mean, honestly, those are one of the few people our legal system is not hard enough on. It blows my mind. It's ridiculous.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here. What if that dude actually was innocent, though? And he was just there under, like, I'm not saying that, like, all...
At this point, man, I don't think that I can't have that conversation because I don't know. What if? But the chances are he probably wasn't. And I'm not saying our legal system's 100% because it's very, very, very far from 100%. But when it comes to kitty touchers and stuff, I don't see us seeing something that people were just like, oh, yeah, he did this. Because, like, don't get me wrong, occasionally women do that to men, like false rape accusations.
Yeah.
But honestly, how often is it a false rape accusation? It's 1 in 100. No, it's still 1 in 100.
Yeah.
One of those 100 is probably false.
I'm not saying whatsoever that I believe that every guy is innocent.
And then, but like, you're not wrong. At the end of the day, having all of these people for all of these different levels of crime in the same jails, and the crazy part is they have level systems for their jails. Like, they have level 2s, 4s, 5, all that good stuff, and none of that shit matters. None of that shit matters. They stick 18-year-old kids with fucking resentencing charges in the same fucking blocks as murderers and real fucking gang people. You can have a cellmate
who's 18 years old, never going home, and you could be there with 6 months still parole, and you essentially have to hide that because if he finds out you're going home, he's never going home. He's mad at the world.
Oh, it's constant frustration. You're going home in 6 months? I'm never going to see my family again. I don't even get letters. People forgot about him as a human being. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
That's why it gets so out of pocket. People don't think about that. Like, there's an entire, like, you know from experience, there's an entire prison that's dedicated to juveniles or those that are like 18 to like 19 or 21 years old.
Absolutely.
And it's one of the most violent prisons.
Oh, it's horrible. They call them gladiator schools.
Yeah, that's gladiator camp. Because you're sending a bunch of young children that are doing like 20, 25 years up there, and they're sent away from their family. So they live out in Philly. They're in Pine Grove. That's not...
Even if it's just it's just 20, 25 years. When you give someone 16... It doesn't have to be that long. When you give an 18-year-old 18 years, that's life to them. That is their entire life so far. So what's it matter? What's it matter? I might not make it double what I am right now, so I might as well go stab this guy in the face. He was looking at me funny. He took too long on the phone. Anything.
And when you have that much testosterone from people that are raging with hormones in one place and they're already frustrated like that, if one thing pops off, another's going to pop off. And parole, you might have 25 years till you see parole. If you kill somebody or you stab somebody or you fight somebody in those first 10 years, you could be a saint for the next 15. Parole's not necessarily going to look at that. So you have a 10-year window where you could just do things that you physically could never do outside of prison.
And the crazy part is you hear about that as soon as you get into jail. As soon as you get into jail, it's, listen, man, you got, how long you got? Oh, you got 10 years? Man, the first 8 years, parole ain't even going to look at it.
Rocking out.
They're not even going to look at you because they know people are going to be frustrated. You got that long in a metal box? It's ridiculous, man.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's continue, though. You get up into, you know what I mean, whatever, you get up in state prison, you finish off your term. With your first time upstate, did you do any whole time? Did you do any solitary?
My first time up, I did 30 days for tattoos. I got caught, my silly was in there, he actually sent me money, and I was like 20 minutes into it, and the CEO came by, and I think he might have actually let me go, but he told me to put the gun through the window, and I refused to. I threw the door, just broke it and flushed it. So he was like, I'm not going to do any paperwork, so I broke it and flushed it. He cuffed me up and took me anyway. But I was in Mercer. That was my first time out. I was a level 2. That was, the hole there was the sweetest thing ever. Like, you had TVs in there. I lived better in the hole there than I did
in the hole that TVs. Yeah. That's
Mercer
ridiculous.
Was crazy.
Yeah, no, there's nothing like that anywhere else.
My second time, so it was in the whole 3.5 to 6 months I was up there, and then on side restriction for like 2 more of that. But like the hole in Somerset was not that sweet, and I wasn't there for violation. I was looking at like an extended, indefinite amount of time in there.
So when you see people in the hole, have you seen the mentality change that
Absolutely
comes
primal.
with being stuck in a box
Absolutely
by
primal.
yourself for
Absolutely.
90 days.
People will be like absolutely out of their mind. They throw fecal matter in your hand. That's a daily thing.
Have
Their
you seen
entire
it be
sections.
different from like when they go in compared to when they come out? Like someone
Absolutely.
that's just fresh into the jail?
I was in a cell with a man who did 11 and a half months in solitary in Camp Hill and got out 2 months before I had gotten there. And the man is literally broken. Like you could tell me that he'd watch his entire family got murdered with like a hatchet in front of him, and I would believe that. It wasn't that he was like depressed, he was just vacant, just not there. There was no conversation. He could be mid-conversation and just stop talking, and that was it.
Yeah, I think it's a problem, man. I think the whole solitary confinement thing is just ridiculous.
Like imagine just locking yourself in a closet, like an 8x10 closet, and just having a slot in the door and a toilet, and somebody will give you a meal 3 times a day, and that is your day.
And when people think about people getting in trouble in jail, they always assume someone got like stabbed or someone raped somebody or something, anything like that.
Yeah, it's not always that at all.
Tell me some of the petty things, the small things that you can do to land yourself in solitary for an extended period of time.
I did 2.5 weeks for smoking. It was. I'm not sure if it still is. You could smoke in the state prison system. Had to be outside.
Now you can't. In Pennsylvania, you can't smoke
Smoking
anymore.
in my cell, I did 30 days. I've done 15 days for having pictures on my wall outside of the outline. They have like a designated spot to have pictures up, and I had ones around it. And
goodness.
Yeah, they didn't tell me to take them down. They did a raid, and they actually cuffed me up for that.
Wow.
Yeah, it was real. It was because of being immersed.
So no
in
warning.
going on. No, because they did a raid, and because they didn't find drugs or anything in the whole block, they were just on real petty shit.
Wow.
And then I've seen people go for simply like if you're not standing for count, and like they'll say something, you'll be like, bro, like I wasn't standing, I didn't hear you yell.
Yeah.
Because you're combative with them, that you're disregarding a direct order. That's 30 days off the rip.
30 days in the hole.
I got 2 weeks when I got smoking. I got 2 weeks tacked onto that because he tried to say my cellie was smoking too. My cellie doesn't even smoke cigarettes. And he went out there, he was like, bro, why you write me up? I don't smoke. And I went up and I was like, bro, don't write him up. He didn't do that. And he started snapping. Like, get away from Bubble. I was like, bro, don't write him the fuck up. But you don't even smoke. And he wrote me up for disregarding a direct order because I kept speaking to him about, like, not penalizing somebody that did literally nothing wrong. He was laying in his bunk watching his TV.
Oh, man.
That's a big part of it, too. People don't realize...
All right, so hold on a second. When you are in the hole, so say I get in an argument with the CO about a letter that didn't get sent out or something stupid. You get in an argument about CO. There's a bunch of testosterone there. It's not like there's any women in there or anything to like try to relieve yourself. You know what I mean? So you get in an argument with the CO. You end up in the hole for 30 days because you were being combative and disrespectful. Blah blah blah. And what do they give you while you're in the hole? To try to help your mental state, to try to help you grow out of or to stimulate you or change the behavior in some type of way from what got you in there in the first place.
Absolutely nothing. There's no rehabilitative effect at all. You are cut down to 2 hours outside a week, 1 hour on Saturday, 1 hour on Sunday. If you miss standing to be on the list, you don't go out. You get a shower once, maybe twice a week. And that's every hole I've been. That's 3 different state prisons I've been in.
That's disgusting.
That's once definitely. It's usually every 4, then every 3. So you usually get it essentially one. You get 1 a week, then 2 a week.
All right. So let me reframe the question here for you. What do you think they do for you as someone that's been in the state prison?
You mean
at all while you're in the state prison system to help you change the behaviors of what happened or try to shape your mind and let you know that everything could be, it doesn't have to be all bad. You don't have to come back to prison. You don't have to go out there and do crimes. You don't have to do all of the horrible things that people expect you to do.
That's actually a big point of argument. There's so many people that will argue like just these grandiose ideas like, oh, you can get a college degree through prison. You could do HVAC.
You see anyone get a college degree while you're in prison?
Never. The constrictions and the parameters you have to be in to even take college courses are unattainable. You have to not be a felon. How are you going to get to a state prison without being a felon unless you really tried or you're a offender?
You got
okay, that's a huge one. 98% of them at least are felons.
Yeah.
And then within that you can't have any violent crimes. So there's another chunk off. You can't have any sex crimes, another chunk off. No drug convictions. That's at least 70% of the state prison system. I've never seen anyone even take
any felony, anything like that.
And then courses like HVAC that are offered there, or welding courses, it's a 1 or 2 year waiting list to get on if you can. if anything happens to you, so you're working in the kitchen in between that.
And the really sad part about the HVAC and all of that is nobody hires you.
Ever.
You get a HVAC, go ahead and get your welding degree in prison. Get your HVAC. Man, that is one of the hardest things to do when you come home.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter if it's just your barber's license, man. It's damn near impossible to get a job. Nobody respects your education in prison.
At all.
No, not at all.
That's absolutely why, like, there really isn't that much offer. They offer you classes like, it's violence prevention, things that might be, you're entitled to do this, like, this is supposed to help you take a textbook.
All right, let's talk about these classes for a second. When you do take one of these classes, who's teaching the class?
When I took violence prevention, it's an outside third party, essentially. They work for the prison. They're privatized and hired. Mm-hmm. They're given a set of materials to read, and they go over them with you, and then you recite them back. Essentially, like, I'm a terrible person. Even if you were convicted wrongly of something,
right.
You have to sit there.
You have to admit your crimes and everything like that.
And take responsibility for that. I did.
If there's one thing we've seen, if Netflix has done anything, they put a lot of documentaries and true stories up, and they put the one up recently about them New York kids.
Yeah. When they see us.
When they see us. That'll tell you, man, not everybody in jail is in there for a reason.
And there are a lot of people that really should not be there.
And you think that the way that them kids got treated is anything special? That's regular. That doesn't stop today. They'll treat you like that today. If they think that oh my God, especially for black kids over a white lady, oh my God, they don't respect us. They don't respect us as people, man. We're it's secondary. You as a felon, you're secondary. You as a vet, you don't even get looked at anymore. Only time you get looked at is if you're getting a speeding ticket or something, and then thanks for your service.
Exactly.
When you got your leg messed up, man, what'd they do to help you with that?
Well, they looked at my file and saw that I only had like a little over a year left, like from the moment that we got back. They're like, oh, we're just gonna put him on profiles until he's no longer a problem. A profile is basically a piece of paper that says this guy can't do this for this amount of time because of this. And they just kept giving me profile after profile after profile until I was no longer the problem. Even though I kept getting on them, like, there's something not right if you would just X-ray it.
So did you ever end up getting an X-ray and everything? Did the military ever end up taking care of you? Because you got injured during a training exercise
in Jordan, yeah.
Yeah, in Jordan. So you got injured across seas, not even going over there doing what they're sending you to do. You're over there training and trying to be a better army, and you get injured. How did you get injured? What happened with that?
We were doing something with while we were wearing rucksacks. I think we were doing like a rucksack race for PT, which a rucksack race is whenever you fill up your rucksacks with at least 45 to like 50 pounds, and you run, try to beat everyone else. But we did it in teams. Like, you had to stay in formation and everything while you did it.
Right.
And they started running and everything in my mind kept telling me, do not run with a ruck. You always, like in basic training, if you ran with your ruck, you got yelled at. Like, they chewed you the fuck out.
And that's one of the things that kind of blows my mind, because you hear about these type of things often. Yeah. Running with your rucksack or even
it's horrible. It's horrible for your lower back and your fucking knees.
Yeah, I mean, it happened to Edward Snowden. That's why he got kicked out of the army. He was running with the rucksack that weighed almost as much as he did. Snowden.
You mean the guy that's in Russia right now?
Yes.
Huh, I didn't know.
You never watched this movie?
I didn't know he was
pretty interesting. That's why he was in the army first.
Huh.
Yeah, he was in the army first, and his legs got injured from running with. He was a small guy. Yeah. So his legs couldn't take him running with the rucksack and everything.
Well, we got down to the bottom of this hill, and I just felt my knee just go.
All right, so once you finally get injured, what happened? Did they take you to the infirmary or whatever they call it?
There really wasn't an infirmary there. We just had medics.
So whenever now obviously you're out of the army now, you're home back in Pennsylvania and everything. What have they done since you've been home to try to help you with it or anything?
I've been on the way. I submitted my stuff like a couple months after I got home, and I tried calling them and everything. Nothing. VA is a joke. They don't mind sending all these kids that are, barely old enough to, like, they can't even drink yet. Don't mind sending them off to fucking fight and die. but can't be bothered to actually help them out once they're here.
Yeah, if it's not actual money, they don't really want to deal with you. It's taking too much.
The thing is, people don't realize is that we the people don't mean shit to the government. We're just we're a statistic.
Hey, we're cogs in the machine, man. We keep them running.
Yeah.
Keep them running. It's not like that. That's not how it really is. They're supposed to keep us
running. And the thing is, like, whenever I joined the Army, I didn't do it for patriotic reasons or, make someone... No, I did it because I needed a damn job.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of people.
I needed a damn job.
Yeah, that's a lot of people, man.
That was pretty much half the people that I was in with. Oh, and I want to say this to everyone who fucking is pro Trump supporter and all that shit.
Oh man.
Trump. America. I know so many damn people whenever I was in the Army who are the children of those people that you want to fucking send back. And you want to send their kids back with them too. Well, guess what? Their kids are fucking fighting your freedom while you're too fucking lazy to get up and do anything about it. So fuck you.
Amen.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoy
and also,
the Army, so
Muslims aren't fucking bad. Muslims are not bad people. I served with fucking Muslims.
Oh, no, absolutely, man. People take the wrong idea about Muslims. Some of the greatest Black Americans there has ever been have been Muslims, like Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X. I mean, these are good people. These are good, strong people, regardless of what everyone wants to say about Malcolm X. Because a lot of people talk shit. He was a very violent man. Yeah. But you know what? The motherfuckers he was dealing with at the time were violent men. They were very violent. The shit that we had to deal with as Black Americans back then was crazy. I'm so glad I wasn't alive then. I would have been dead. I would have been dead. My anger, my temper, I would have been dead.
Unrelated though, do you know the religion that has the highest casualty rate attached to it as killing in the name of is Christianity? Christianity.
Yeah, Catholics though. It's the Catholics. Yes. They had them crusades. Yeah. Nobody wants to talk about them though.
Yeah, we put so much emphasis on the Muslims. They're killing everyone. Catholics have slaughtered millions.
So many.
Millions.
So many. It's ridiculous.
We ignore that.
But alright, so since we're on the subject, how were Muslims in jail? Because I know, from what I know, people can say what they want. A lot of Muslims are going to get mad. I don't care. Muslims on the bricks are a lot different than Muslims in jail.
Real. And there are different kinds entirely in jail. If you go to a larger city in Pennsylvania like Philadelphia, you'll see a very large Muslim community. A lot of people going to shows a lot.
Absolutely.
And people, that is their life. They didn't pick this religion up.
Nothing bad neither.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Not all of them.
This is their life. They were raised in this. This is the religion they found they believe in.
Exactly.
And they're strong in that. Their morals and following what they believe and what is in the Quran. In jail, there's like Black Muslim, which is considered a gang now, like the Black Muslim gang. It's really, you'll see kids in there that'll be like 18, 19. I'm going to go to Jew Mall so I can sell drugs or cut up my homie.
Right.
They buy a kufi, they don't have a Quran. They're still smoking weed in jail.
Right.
They're still eating pork. Like,
and that's another thing I think people have to understand. Like, the true Muslims, look at the Muslims that get out of jail and go right back to gangbanging and shooting people with kufis on. They're disgusted.
Absolutely.
They don't want to see that shit, man. Same thing as the Christians that look at the Catholic priests touching all them little boys. They are disgusted. Not everyone wants to be like that. These are the worst of the worst. The 1 in 100 that we just happen to see.
My first study I had in Camp Hill when I was back in my violation about a year ago, Ahmed, he was a 45-year-old Muslim from Maryland. He had been Muslim since he was 12 and was one of the most peaceful. He was one of my favorite studies I've ever had. I could sit down and play chess with him, kind of hold conversations with him. He was one of the cleanest people I've been with. Insanely nonviolent.
Yeah.
And he was the man that would be like, when they were on the gate yelling, like, all out in the streets, I shoot you, these same dudes that are, on Allah, they wearing kufis and they just trying to gangbang in jail with a kufi on. He's like, that's disgusting to me.
Yeah, it's sad, man.
It's essentially like somebody.
Because half of it is a gang in jail. At least they're just a gang. Half of them are just in there to be gang.
And they're in there
because they'll be the same ones eating pepperoni in their cell.
Yeah, and they're classified as a gang now. The Black Muslim is a gang.
But then again, like I said, I've seen good Muslims.
No, absolutely.
Good Muslims, man. Some people go in there and that religion changes their entire life.
Yeah, there's a lot more people in there that are good Muslims you don't hear about because they're not making waves. They're some of the most peaceful,
people. You can only hear about the worst of the worst.
And they're not forcing any religion on you. They're peaceful upon themselves. If you want to talk about it, they'll talk about it. They're a true Muslim. When I was in jail, like somebody that's actually like following their beliefs is one of the most peaceful, easy to along with people I've ever had. Like I said, Ahmed was one of my favorite cellies I've ever had.
Yeah, I met some good dudes.
Easy to live with.
I kind of want to deviate from that. like small time prejudices, like, you know, I'm from this town, you from that town, fuck off.
Yeah.
That shit kind of like dissipates whenever you get into something as big. I'd imagine same as jail, but when you're in the army, like those small time prejudices, like, you know, that motherfucker's from that town, I don't fuck with him. When you get into the fucking army, oh wait, you from fucking Pennsylvania? Where the fuck you at? Pennsylvania?
Yeah, you absolutely see that in the same prison system.
Absolutely. You be in county and be like, yo, I'm from Harrisburg. Like, oh, I'm out from Chambersburg. Bro, you get upstate, you be out towards Pittsburgh. Be like, yo, Harrisburg? Word.
Yeah.
Word. Hey, no, Lancaster? Close enough, bro.
Come
Central.
here.
Close enough. Central. Yeah,
It's
like,
the same
like,
area code.
yeah.
We good enough.
Just like you go to a federal penitentiary, they're housed all over the U.S. You be in California, like, yo, God, you from New York? Oh, we out here.
East Coast.
You could be 8 miles or 8 hours away from each other. One from Buffalo, one from like just the absolute southern border, and you just be like, "Oh yeah, what's good?" Like, never
Oh,
seen
my
you.
goodness.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just essentially you need some sense of camaraderie, really, and that's another thing. When you go in the state prison system, when I went from county, being in a cell with a friend of mine that I had in high school, I was having a really good time. I was cool with him. They wake me up at 4 a.m. and I'm pushed through a whole lot of yelling and like violence provoking, just a whole lot of confusing shit, and then you're stuck in a cell with someone you don't know, full of people you don't know, in a place you're not familiar with, and there's no manual given to you, there's nothing explained, the speakers I can't understand, it's a lot of confusion, like the entire process, and it's weird. You have nobody really hang out with, nobody you know. So if you're in a cell with someone like, yo, like I live like 50 miles.
All right, so I gotta ask, and I know this is always weird because it's always a little embarrassing, but walk me through the first time, the first day you go upstate with the big criminals, like I said, because these are real murderers that you're going in there with.
Yeah.
These are people that are never going to come home.
Absolutely. There's actually there was a 19-year-old. He went up there, had 18 years. I just found out from Jesse yesterday. I guess he got stabbed up and killed last year. No, not. Yeah, you go. But he I guess he got stabbed up and killed like last year or something up there. And he was just a young bull. But we all right. So they come to my cell at 4 a.m. and wake me up. I'm in county. And then, you know, get up, take you to the holding up front. You sit in the bird cage. We'll give you breakfast. And that was when I found out that like a 40-year-old man that I'd been in there was there for like 256 counts of child pornography. And I knew he was slow, like, mentally, because we were sitting there, and he was like, I don't know what it's like going up there. And I was like, I don't know, bro, I ain't never been up. And young bull was like, what are your charges? And I was like, I'm resentenced and I felony 3 criminal mischief. He's like, you, and dude's like, child pornography. And I was just like, yeah, you should probably just
away from
keep
me.
that away from everyone, bro. You can just stay in that corner, don't tell anyone else.
I'm surprised he even said it to you, man.
Yeah.
Stuff that
no, he said it in the cage in front of 8 people.
Oh
In county,
my
yeah.
gosh.
And the CO was like, yeah, you're going to want to just
don't
cut
do that.
You can get yourself killed. And so they load you in the van, and you're cruising with the sheriffs out to the Camp Hill. You go into intake, they drive in, back the doors down, and then you get out. It's immediately stand on the line. So you're cuffed up in your belt around your stomach, and you're cuffed to that. And if you deviate from that line, your shoulder's not on the wall, they're going to push your ass into the wall. Or they're going to knock you out and then pin you against the wall and just kind of shove you down the wall. So it's a lot of yelling the entire time. And it's essentially, I'm going to say, it's the equivalent to boot camp in prison. They're trying to break you down, scare the shit out of you so you're docile.
Yeah.
And they go in, they line you up, they yell your name, you come over, get your cuffs off, walk you down the line. They go in, they'll line 3 or 4 up at a time. Everyone's stripped down, so you're just in a line. So it's, mouth, behind your ears, through your hair, lift them, lift both of them, turn around, both your feet, spread your cheeks, squat, cough, in the shower. No curtain, turn the water on, they give you delousing.
And just so I can be clear with people at home, you didn't just come off the street. You didn't come nowhere. You could have brought a bunch of crazy contraband.
From county jail in cuffs.
You're coming from prison to prison in cuffs the entire time, and they still make you strip down to butthole. They do it when you get to county too. They strip you down to butthole, make you cough and dehumanize you as much as possible, and then they give you a number.
Absolutely. And then you no longer are. I'm no longer Anthony Young. I'm then actually it's been almost 3 years, and I still am inmate MQ6118.
It doesn't change.
No.
Never changes.
Never. MQ6118. That's your number, and that's what you'll be called. If they can't pronounce your last name, or if they don't care enough to know your last name, you're that number for the rest of your time there. And so after you get all this, they'll box up your stuff in a cardboard box, and they take all of your clothes and belongings you came with. So you have your wedding band or a watch that's expensive, and they'll tell you, okay, it's going to be like $125 to mail this home, or we can incinerate it.
Yeah.
And, like, I didn't have shit. I was going to burn everything. Like, I don't
Yeah.
need these clothes. But there's people that have, like, a Rolex there and have no money on their books. And they're like, yo, like, I don't have family. If I do this, I'm 125.
You know that's not getting burned.
They don't burn that. I've seen...
They're not burning
I've
that.
seen a man go up with Jordans on and seen a CO wearing them walking out of the jail 2 weeks later. If it comes in, you say incinerate, that's them theirs.
Yeah.
That's free
I guess
jewelry.
that's pickable because it's
Absolutely.
just garbage at that point.
At that point, it's compost. It's not like they're
It's
breaking
got to
the
be
law.
theft, man.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
So then they'll call you in the back room. They'll go through your box and stuff, look at all your pictures, make sure any contraband you came up with, and then they sit you down and sit down and take pictures of all of your tattoos individually, and then ask you about any of them that they think are gang related, which most of mine, anything is just gang related to these people. Because, like
The
literally
Wu-Tang Clan.
everything. Yeah, I have because I have a pentagram on my shoulder. I was a pagan, and I was like, no, I was just young and stupid.
Yum and dumb.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And just all because I have a 13. I'm apparently MS-13. Like, no, I was like 16 years old. I thought it would look
Mexican,
cool.
you know.
Yeah. And so then they'll pull you in the office and they'll ask you a bunch of questions about your charge. Basically, like, do you know how long you're gonna be here? Is this your first time? It's like the first one person that's gonna be cool with you is the dude that does all your information on your start sheet. And like he's just asking like essentially like, how much time you doing? Do you know when your minimum is? Do you have triple RI? Things like that. And then they push you back in your line and they walk you through the entirety of the compound. And I was like the elephant in the room, so to speak, there. I had gotten sent upstate with like an 8-inch bright orange mohawk.
Oh, God.
I never got it cut off, so I'm out there and they're like, look at the pony boy. We gonna get you on B block.
Oh, my
and
God.
like at this point, I've got some time. I had gone up when I was 23 years old, and I was like, test me.
Let's
I know
try
how
it.
this works. My first day in here, you're gonna punch me. I'm gonna fight the like. I don't know anything about this. I'm fighting to kill. Like,
Right.
And like that was the.
I think that's an idea everyone goes to jail with too.
Absolutely.
Like when you get to jail, you have to fight somebody.
Yeah, and as soon as I'm out there and there's people with every line yelling shit like that, I was like, man, this is about to be rough. Like,
Yeah.
bro, I'm not even gonna hold you, because I'd gone my first day of testing, blood testing, getting your eye work, all that done. Every CO that see me would say some crazy shit, and you can't say anything back. They will pull you in a room without a camera, beat the brakes off you, put your ass back there, and that's when you fell.
Yeah.
And like. So, the end of my first day, I was in my cell, my safety razor was chopped an orange out my hair. Real shit, I got rid of it off the rip.
I don't blame you.
But, like, that's another thing people don't want to realize that we don't talk about. Because it's a privatized system, and because the COs essentially run that jail. Yeah. They run that shit. Their word is law, and you don't get past that. My first day in there, I have all cops are bastards tattooed on my knuckles when I was younger. And the sheriffs that arrested me knew what that meant and asked me, and they were the same ones that took me upstate 2 months later.
Oh, man.
So as soon as I lined up, they're like, yo, this one doesn't like cops. So everyone in the line was testing me, like, you want to go in the back and fight it out? Like, no, man, I want to go to my cell. I'm tired. Yeah. And they don't talk about that. I've seen inmates and COs get into arguments, and the CO will pop the gate, go in, and just beat him half to death. Take the badge off, the talkie off, come back out. On the other end of that, if you beat up that CO, you're doing another 7 years.
Oh, they're still coming to get you.
If you win or lose, you lose.
Yeah, there ain't no.
You just lose worse if you win.
He's the winning or they're winning.
He's winning or they're winning.
Yeah.
And that's like people don't realize that Camp Hill is one of the worst prisons for that. Because they know that you're classifying, you're leaving.
Oh, yeah, you're not even gonna be there long.
So they'll keep testing. If you got 18 years, they'll
it's
keep
so
fucking
easy to lose your
with you.
paperwork up there.
So when you get to your home jail, it's a little different. The COs know, like, all right, this motherfucker's here. As long as he's here, he might have life. I don't know. I'm not gonna treat him like shit. If I give him respect, he'll respect me.
Yeah,
if
most
I
of the
start
time.
him sideways and he's doing life and he's 16, I'm getting stabbed in my eye.
And he's not gonna care.
And there's
he's
a lot.
Not gonna care.
There's a lot.
And he's the
more.
same person with you in his cell. He's ready to stab you. But this kid, you can whoop his ass.
Yep.
He's going home in a year. Yep. Oh, he's not gonna fuck that up. He don't want to fuck that up. He hits me back. You're staying here for another 4.
Yeah. And even if you don't, though, that's the thing. People don't realize that. If there's a fight, even if you're getting popped on, I've seen on block in front of cameras, both of them will go to the hole for 30 days. You can come sneak on someone, hit him twice. He can just weave and keep his hands up, not swing at all. You're still going with him.
Yeah.
So it's either you can get beat up and you're still hit. It's really set up for failure, dude. Because any small infraction, if you go to the hole, your parole's gone.
Yeah.
If someone walks up and smacks you, your time's gone. You're doing longer.
The Army is actually kind of a lot like that. You got those asshole fucking NCOs, which are like your sergeants and everything, like who like to hide behind their rank.
Yeah.
They know that you can't do shit to them, really. Especially,
Once again, man, I think it's anyone with power.
Especially, like, I don't know if the Army's still the way it was whenever I was in, but, like, it was a serious, hardcore old boys club. If you were one of the good old boys, you get away with shit. If one of the good old boys didn't like you, none of the fucking good old boys liked you.
All right, guys. I think this is good for the day. Appreciate you guys coming on and talking to me. Is there anything that either one of you want to say to the world before you hop off the camera?
But of course, Wu-Tang is for the children.
Oh God.
I just want people to keep watching this and maybe open their mind. And if anything, I just want really all I want from this whole video series that we've started, the whole channel, is just people to think more.
Yeah.
Just looking at the information that you have questions about.
If you've actually stuck around to the end of this video, I very much appreciate all the support I could ever get. Please give a like and subscribe. There will be plenty more coming. If you want it to keep coming, definitely show me the support. Give me a like and subscribe.
Hit the bell.
Leave me a comment on what you would like to comment. Leave me a comment on what you would like us to cover in the future, because we will definitely be back. You guys have a good day. We'll see you soon.